What's going on, everybody? It's the Hook Cam back again with a film preview. Of course, this time taking a look at the Packers and the Niners electric game from both sides in their respective divisional matchups. And I'm going to get into a little bit of what I think is going to happen in this game, kind of taking a look at what happened with the Niners and Packers earlier this season, how that relates to this game, and then going from there. So first things first, I really want to hit on what the Niners did to the Packers on third down, because that, in my opinion, was one of the major factors in this game. And what they did was they tried their best and they succeeded at confusing Aaron Rodgers and disguising their coverages and bringing pressure, right? So in this situation, what the Niners do is they bring edge defenders from across the board here. Not necessarily edge defender, defensive line from across the board. They give the Packers this double A-gap look up front, but instead of rushing these two cats, these two backers, they're going to bring a corner blitz, a nickel blitz, and then they're going to drop these two respectively. One of them is going to cover the shallow route. The other one's going to be taking on the deeper route. Obviously, these two guys push vertically so they don't get to their landing spots. But again, what you're doing is just you're trying to show confusion. You're trying to force a mistake in this situation, right? Or in this case, you're just trying to give enough confusion so that 12 can't get that ball off and so that your defensive front can get some pressure on the quarterback, which is exactly what happened. It happened time and time again against the Packers on this game. Again, just an end zone view of it. Really good job creating that pressure, bringing that nickel corner, and 12 is scrambling. Honestly, there's not much you can do in that situation as a quarterback. But again, here's just another look at it. Coverage-wise in this, it's really just cover one, right? You have your deep safety at the top here. Everybody else is just manned up across the board, and you can get away with doing this on the defensive front with the Niners because of how athletic they are. Right, this defensive line is built on 5 years of first-round draft picks, okay? In this situation, right, they're going to bring guys from the left side of the line of scrimmage here, and they're going to drop 54 Fred Warner in front of number 3. Does a really good job getting a hand on this thing. I don't even know if he actually touches this ball, but again, he's just getting in the way of it. He just gives that little step forward. He actually doesn't at all get in the way of that, my bad. But again, you're just seeing him drop. Ideally, he's dropping in front of number 3. And then once again here, it's pretty much just man coverage across the board. But really what you're doing in this situation, if you're the Niners, is you're just isolating this front four, right? Front four, front five, trying to bring that confusion to Aaron Rodgers. Create pressure when you can, drop off when you don't, right? Not all the time are third downs about creating pressure and getting in the quarterback's face. Sometimes it's about, hey, let's give that look like we are, and then we're going to drop off and play drop 8, drop 7, whatever that may be. Now, what the Packers can do to go against this, right? What they can do to fight against this. I think that their best chances are when they're trying to take advantage of numbers, right? Now, in this situation, early in the game, really simple. We just get like an RPO-ish look out of these two down here, but that's where your numbers are, right? 2-on-2, we're going to block with number 1 at the bottom. We're going to run our bubble up top. This is an RPO type look from the Packers. It's not exactly an RPO in today's standards. I know that's the hot button topic, and every announcer thinks they know what it is. Not necessarily an RPO look here, exactly like we're used to, but in this situation, I do think it is what they would consider an RPO. Basically, all they're doing is they're telling him, count who's in the box. If you have numbers on the outside, then take it, right? Which is what they do. We have the bubble, block in here, and obviously they pick up some good yardage on this. That's one thing that I think they're going to do, right? Motioning guys across the formation, trying to find the edges, trying to find where your numbers are. That's why you call 2 plays, right? That's why you have your 2 calls in the huddle, so you can kill one of them, go to the one that you think that you have a better advantage with. Now, the other thing that I think the Packers are going to do to combat the Niners defensive front is rolling out Aaron Rodgers, right? You don't want to have your quarterback just sit in the pocket where hits, right? Roll him out a little bit. Rodgers is mobile. He can take care of it. In this situation against the Seahawks, right, a somewhat active front of Seattle. You give him that little play fake, pulling the guard. It's going to get backers moving this way. You can see 30 stuck in his tracks. Bobby Wagner, obviously, as well. He has the speed to make up for it. But again, just roll Rodgers out, right? Get him out of the pocket. Give him chances. Give him a very simple levels concept. Reading a defense isn't the problem for him. It's about giving him enough time to make the decision. And then again, the route running that you're going to have in this situation, right? Seeing this thing from the end zone view, as Davante Adams is streaking across the field, KJ Wright's sitting right in the zone that he wants to drop into. Okay, but instead of Davante Adams like running into it, as we can see right here, we can see KJ Wright right in this area. But instead of running into this and forcing it, he sits. Really good job right off that play action rollout. Rodgers doing a good job flipping his hips and looking like he's in the pocket again and slinging that thing. But those are some of the ways that the Packers can combat that front, right? And that active front that the Niners have is rolling them out, getting the opportunity to get in space, and not necessarily having to deal with that pressure of that defensive front. Now, the other thing is when they do get in third down situations, just take your one-on-one matchups. And this is something that the Packers have gotten better at throughout the season is, we have a one-on-one situation, one of the best route runners in the game in Davante Adams, get him one-on-one. Rodgers does a great job in this play, and I broke it down in my last Packers video of moving the safety with his eyes. I actually didn't touch on that, but watching this thing from the end zone, we'll see Rodgers does a phenomenal job looking off this safety with his eyes, right? And it's going to move him right away from the play. Okay, here he's dropping into cover one, so he's dropping here. Rodgers is staring at the left side of the field, our right, gets that safety to move, comes back to Davante Adams for the dagger. Phenomenal play on that, and again, those are some of the things that I think that the Packers are going to do to combat that active front of the 49ers. Now, from the 49ers perspective on offense, right? The Packers have done a phenomenal job of lining up in bear front and shutting down running games. We saw them do it to Seattle last week. Here's a couple of examples of them doing that to the Niners in their game from a couple of weeks ago, right? They line up in the bear front. They let Kenny Clark go to work. My guy, I love that guy. I love the way he plays football. And they're going to bully you up front. Now, I think this 49ers offensive line is going to be ready for the task here. They're trying to pull a guard. Not the ideal thing you want to do against a bear just because every gap is shored up, right? We're gap sound pretty much across the board. Letting our middle linebacker eat, letting him go to work with a lot of free space to work with because he doesn't have those blockers coming up to that next level. Obviously, gaining 2 on this play, we'll go into the next one. It's pretty much the same thing, right? Packers are controlling gaps, doing a really good job, not getting moved by double teams by this 3 technique. We'll see it from the end zone view. But again, just playing gap sound football in this bear front. This is going to be the crutch for the Packers, I believe. I really do. You have to stick in this. You can't get moved by double teams. You have to be firm in your gap, right? I think that they're probably going to bring in another backer when they go into this 21 or 22 personnel, and that's going to be what I think the Packers are going to try to do to combat the 49ers in their aggressive running game. Now, what the Niners are going to do in response to this, right? We saw this a little bit last week with the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are, defensively, they think, hey, we know that they like to pound the football. They love their inside zones, their powers, their counters. Let's line up in that bear front and take it away. Well, Niners got an answer for that. That's why Kyle Shanahan's one of the best young coaches in the NFL, and it's running wide zone, right? Really good job. Let's get these defensive linemen running sideline to sideline. Let's force these backers to pursue with a ton of traffic in front of them, okay? And then we're going to let our backs make great decisions, all right? Really good job here from the 49ers. And this is something that I think is going to be where the Niners go if their initial running game isn't working, okay? So in this situation, we're working out with our tackle, out with our guard. Our center is going to try and reach this. This nose does a good job getting across his face, and then we just push him to the sideline. Excellent job by the center on this play, right? And then Tevin Coleman making the right read. We can see here, hey, we don't have a reach, but we have this little wall that's being built by our offensive line. Cut this thing back and get me some yardage. Outstanding job by the 49ers, and like I said, I think this is what they're going to go to off of their wide zone game, they're going to go to their wide zone game when they get that bear front. And again, we're going to see it against the Vikings. Just a couple of examples of them running that wide zone and it being effective. In this situation, we have a little bit of a wham here from Kyle Juszczyk. I love this wrinkle in wide zone. I love it. It builds off of your wide zone. You can build your play action game, right? Booting out Jimmy Garappolo, hitting that flat. But again, very simple wide zone. We're working out here. Our center's probably targeting this Mike, right? And we're going to try and reach this nose tackle with our guard. Really good job. Just a phenomenal job across the board from the 49ers. So that is what I believe is going to happen in this football game. I think that the Niners are going to come out on top. I think that this defensive front is so aggressive, and they do such a good job of winning one-on-one matchups and getting quarterbacks in situations that they don't want to be in right now. But with that being said, we know the Packers. We know Aaron Rodgers. We know he's going to keep things tight. I think this one is going to be tighter than the last one. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means, but in the end, I do have the Niners coming out on top in this one. So with all that being said, guys, I'm the Hook Cam. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. But that's all I got for you guys today, and I will see you next time.